Hello world, Krista here with Books and Jams, and I have for you a little book haul today. I have about 7 books to show you, which is pretty good if you've seen previous book hauls of mine, and only 4 of them are ones that I purchased in the last couple weeks. So I'm doing pretty good. The first 3 that I'd like to show you I purchased from my library book sale. The Friends of the Library have shelves up all the time. They have 2 sales during the year that are their big sales, but all the time they keep shelves up. And I tend to check them every once in a while. I try not to check them every single time I go because I am trying to not buy as many books, but I did find some good ones that are in perfect condition, and so I'm going to show them to you. The first one I'm going to show you I've already read, and this is the second book in this duology, The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Ahdieh. The first is The Wrath and the Dawn, and I don't own that, but I did enjoy this duology, and I might read it again. This duology is a retelling of 101 Nights, 1001 Nights. I don't know the actual name of the tale, the legend, but it's where the king takes a new bride every day, and by morning that bride is dead. So this starts with that as the basis of the story, and it kind of goes from there. It's a bit of a magical, fantastical element. I really enjoyed it. Very quick reads, YA. I already read it, but that's the first book I'm going to haul. The next book also doesn't need too much of an introduction because I've seen it all over BookTube, and that is Lumen, the Lumen Files, and this is book 1. I needed to get this sticker off. This has, let's see, a very cool cover. When you take this off, there's some clear parts on there as well. And this, I believe, is a YA that happens in space about 2 teenagers. I believe they break up at the very beginning or just before this book takes place. But the story of the book is told in case files, and there's illustrations and emails and hacker files and all of that jazz. So it should be a pretty quick read. I have heard very, very many people who love it and a few people who didn't love it. So I'm curious to see what I think, but for $2 for this perfect condition, other than the sticker, I couldn't pass it up. So I'll be reading this in March. Just funny side note, most of the books that I'm kind of setting aside to start reading in March all have orange in the cover. Weird. So I guess it's a thing now. The third book that I picked up from the Friends of the Library bookshelf sale is Twains End by Lynn Cullen. This is a really pretty cover. So it's Mark Twain story. So this is a historical fiction based on some journal entries and things about a mystery surrounding Mark Twain and his personal assistant, I believe. In 1909, Mark Twain blessed the marriage of his assistant Isabel Lyons and his business manager Ralph Ashcroft. But then 1 month later he fires both of them and writes a huge rant about them. And so this book is a reimagining of that relationship and what really happened and the mystery surrounding it. So it's a historical fiction based on Mark Twain's life set in the early 1900s. So I just thought that would be pretty interesting, and it's in really good condition, and it was only $2 at the library book sale. So if you've read this, I would be curious to know what you think of it. I've seen it here and there, but mostly at used book sales, so I don't know if I've seen it on BookTube at all, but let me know what you think. A week or so ago, I went to Barnes & Noble just to get some work done and, of course, peruse the shelves and add more to my Goodreads TBR. But while I was there, I picked up Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. This was on their discount books shelf. I think it was only $5. I've been hearing a lot lately about Octavia Butler, and I've not yet read anything by her. So this is Parable of the Sower, and I believe it's kind of a futuristic dystopian type society, and this is the story of a minister's daughter who ends up leaving her gated community and is out in the wasteland, and it's a little bit about faith and religion and this dystopian society. So I've heard that it's very good. I've heard that Octavia Butler is very good, and I'm looking forward to reading this sometime soon. At my church, there used to be a book club. There's not anymore, but occasionally we still get books sent to us, and the secretary always hands them off to me, which I'm not going to say no to that. So this one is called The Mark of the King by Jocelyn Green, and this is a historical fiction set in, well, England first. So it's about this midwife whose client dies, and she gets marked, branded in a sense as a criminal. She exchanges her path towards execution for a life of exile and gets shipped off to the French colony of Louisiana and has to make her way in this new colony. And New Orleans is nothing like they said it was before she got there, but she has a brother who's still a soldier in the King's army, and so I don't know if she loses touch with him or what goes on from there, but it's early 18th century historical fiction, Christian fiction. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, this might be for you. It's The Mark of the King. Sounds good to me. I won a giveaway from Kale's over at Kale's Corner, and I will put her channel down below. It's fantastic. She's a lot of fun. And if you haven't yet watched or seen any of the book battles game show that she's done for the past year, I believe, or I think they had 6 or 7 or 8 episodes. I forget how many episodes, but book battles is a lot of fun. I've watched one of them live, and a couple of them I've caught bits and pieces of them after they're finished, but Kale's is the brainchild behind all of that, and it's fantastic. And she did a giveaway on her channel, and I won Life in a Fishbowl by Len Vlahos. And she met Len Vlahos, and actually this is a signed book, which I don't think I have any signed books, so that's really exciting. She was also very sweet and sent a card in with the giveaway with the book as well when she sent it. So this story is about a girl named Jackie whose father, it's discovered early on, has a brain tumor. And then I believe something about he auctions his life off on eBay or something along those lines. And so then it kind of plays out from there as to who ends up bidding the highest on his life, and unsure of what's going to happen with all of that and how it all plays out. I don't really have a clue, but Kale spoke highly of it and speaks highly of this author. So I'm intrigued by this. I'm very excited to have won the giveaway. Thank you so much, Kales. And yeah, I'll have to let you know when I get to it. This book was my book of the month club pick for this month. I chose not to open it on camera. It's Perfect Little World by Kevin Wilson, and this book is about a psychologist and a billionaire who team together to try to have this little experiment, I guess, where they choose 10 families, or 10 children and families, and raise them collectively, kind of off the grid in a sense, in a little utopia that they're trying to build, to see how these children will grow and develop without knowing who their biological parents are. So this group as a whole is supposed to raise these 10 children. So I guess things start out great, but as the kids grow and as people's personalities come to play, things might get a little tricky, I'm assuming. So this is Perfect Little World by Kevin Wilson. 7, guys, that's not too bad. I've had book hauls with like close to 30 books before, so 7 is a really good number. And one of them I've already read, one I'll be reading next month for sure. The rest all seem very interesting to me, and I only paid for 4 of them. So yay for me. Please let me know if you've read any of these books and what you think of them, or if any sound really intriguing to you. And I will for sure be talking to you soon. Bye!